everybody, it's your boy Jack here, and today in this video I want to welcome you to the review of Avengers Endgame. I've been waiting to film this video for a while, and I have to admit I'm excited to review it because oh my goodness, this movie is amazing. It just is amazing. It does the impossible. It satisfies yet blows my mind on how they did this whole film. So amazing. But besides that though, let's get down to business here and let's talk a bit about the information about the film itself, and then we'll dive into the actual review. So, Avengers Endgame came out April 26, 2019. It has a Rotten Tomatoes rating of 95%. It is directed by Joe and Anthony Russo with a budget of $356 million, which is crazy. As well, it stars Robert Downey Jr. as Iron Man, Chris Evans as Captain America, Scarlett Johansson as Black Widow, Chris Hemsworth as Thor, Karen Gillan as Nebula, Mark Ruffalo as the Hulk, and Jeremy Renner as Clint Barton, with the antagonist being Josh Brolin. Yes, that is a lot of names, but damn, this movie is stacked with cast. I'm not even mentioning a quarter of the cast, but you gotta name the original Avengers, cause you gotta. But yeah, besides that though, the official synopsis for the Avengers Endgame movie that I found off of Google reads: adrift in space with no food or water, Tony Stark sends a message to Pepper Potts as his oxygen supply starts to dwindle. Meanwhile, the remaining Avengers, Thor, Black Widow, Captain America, and Bruce Banner, must figure out a way to bring back their vanquished allies for an epic showdown with Thanos, the evil demigod who decimated the planet and the universe. But yeah, that's the official description for the film. That's all the information you need to know. Let's dive in to the review. So, firstly, let's talk about the pros. Let's keep it positive here. Let's start it off as positive. And oh my god, there's so much to talk about. So firstly, I want to talk about time travel in this movie. Because obviously this movie deals with time travel, and it deals with the fact that they have to go back through the quantum realm to get the Infinity Stones, all that kind of stuff. And what I really like about that is they don't make the whole time travel stuff tacky. It's not tacky, it's not weird or anything like that. It's not Back to the Future, or it's not well thought out enough where it's like any other really bad time travel movie or low budget time travel movie, that kind of thing. It's well thought out and well planned. It's not it's well planned in the sense too that it's sort of honors comic nerds in the same way. And I say this because it honors the comic book community and stuff because of the whole multiverse theory and how it's sort of opening up the multiverse. Yes, it's sort of a bit of an obvious option and everything, but I like that. I like how in the next phase it's most possible that the X-Men are going to get introduced through another universe or another timeline and that kind of thing, which is got me excited and stuff. Sort of a way to introduce Deadpool into the MCU, because your boy wants to see Deadpool in the MCU because Ryan Reynolds kills it. Overall, when it comes to time travel with this movie, I really like it because at the beginning, hearing rumors about this film and hearing rumors about possible time travel, I was I've seen too many bad time travel movies or time travel tropes go on and stuff and not work. But this is I like that it's worked, and I like how they planned it out and everything, and sort of help create a good base for the future MCU movies. So yeah, that's what I like about time travel. It's not tacky, it's well done, it's well thought out. And it's sort of cool too to look back at the MCU, come on, sort of the big moments and stuff, and it really has some good humor, but a good balance of sort of flashback of where they were. But yeah, moving forward to point number 2 here, I want to talk about the humor in the film and the importance of it. So obviously in Avengers Endgame, humor, there's a lot of big events and a lot of big moments in the film itself that sort of deal with grief and how people deal with grief and everything, and how how like they sort of like the Avengers themselves deal with failure. And it has a like, overall it could have been a really bad movie if they didn't have the humor in there, because it would have been a really, really dark movie and everything. But with the humor inputted into this movie, it really does balance it out. It doesn't make it too sad of a movie. It doesn't make it too depressing or anything like that. The humor really does help sort of build a great connection with the audience of like, these people are just humans, but at the same time there's a great sense of like it shows a great sense of trust between the different characters in the movie itself. Like I literally love probably my top 2 favorite scenes are like the one with Hulk in the diner, like hilarious. The taco scene, amazing. I mean top 3 now. Sorry, I'm thinking about all the great scenes. And then like the Spider-Man scene, like the Spider-Man when he reunites with Tony. Oh my god, like emotional, but like also at the same time like hilarious, where he's just like, oh my god, the wizard made these like weird orange portals and then we hopped through and then I woke up and like at that planet and like with these people, and like it was just like it's such a like a Peter response. Like it just makes me show like it shows me too at the same time how much I love Peter Parker as a character, like how much I sort of low-key missed him. But yeah, like I think the humor really helped this film. It balanced it out because there's like so much going on. Like having those humor moments, have those like laughs and everything really helped support this film. And like literally your boy stands that. Moving forward to point number 3 here with the pros and everything. I think like a huge pro, like a thing that I loved with this movie as well, was the music. Obviously Alvin Silvestri, he helped compose this and like this film and everything. He killed it. Like for me, I'm a bit of a music nerd. Like I love listening to Game of Thrones and like the different types of themes, between the Rains of Castamere to Dracarys to the Winterfell theme, all those like the complexities of each theme and what they all mean and the hidden meanings, all that kind of stuff. But for me, I never really noticed that with a Marvel film, or I never really noticed that with even like a DC film or superhero films in general. But this film really hit me on how complex it gets and how the little like nods to different Marvel films between the different like the different moments or the different scenes. Like probably my favorite scene music wise was that build up to the Avengers Endgame title card. Like amazing, love it. Like I love how it just builds up slowly and it's subtle and then it all comes together and then boom, the Avengers theme with that Avengers Endgame title card. Like oh my freaking goodness, like amazing, loved it. Also, like, I feel like when it comes to this film and, like, how it's composed and everything, I feel like the music, like, a huge part of the music itself and, like, how, like, with this movie is that how complex it is. Like, because of this being a 3-hour film and because of this having such a big story and everything, I feel like there's a lot more depth to a lot of the moments and a lot of the songs, like, and where they're put in and everything, and that's something I liked as well. Like it's very, the theme overall is just, it made me notice the music in the film, and I think that's something I liked. But at the same time, I like the fact that a lot of these moments and everything, a lot of these scenes had these complex, like sort of deeper meanings into it. And I'm like, yeah, that's something I really liked about it. Moving forward to my last point here, my last pro, my last positive that I sort of have to talk about is that, like, I'm still processing all this information. Like, one of the best parts about this film is rewatching this film over and over and over again in theaters, in IMAX, all that kind of stuff, and like being like, wait, that scene, or even watching the breakdowns from New Rockstars. Like, gotta shout them out because they're like my favorite channel, like post SourceFed and stuff. But like, they literally, New Rockstars had to do a two episode breakdown because it would have been like an hour and a half, and it was literally like breaking them, and I was like, oh my god, I feel so bad for them. But like, they made like a 2-part breakdown for this film, and it was like, oh my god, all these crazy moments. Like, I'm still processing the facts of like certain moves with certain characters. Like, I'm still processing Black Widow's death. I'm still processing Tony's death and like the build up to that with his story arc or with her story arc and everything, and like what the like future of the MCU is going to mean, because of this film being so long and everything, I feel like I'm still processing so much in this film. Like when I was originally doing a lot of the like the reviews and stuff, like doing the little points that I normally do for the review, I was like, I literally started writing stuff down, and I'm like, I can't do this, I can't do that, I can't do this, and I'm like, just try to keep it simple. That's why I stuck to these like 4 points, because it's like I'm still processing so much, and I don't want to like say a point and then get it wrong, because it's just like there's just so much there. Because it's like I could talk about Captain America and his story arc versus Tony, but that's literally like a whole video, and it's like, and I think that's just because there's so much information there. And like I love that with a film. Like I love with this film that I'm still 2 weeks later processing this moment, processing that moment, talking to somebody, processing that. Or even like the line with Groot where it's like at the end where he's saying I like knives, and I am like saying I am Groot, but like I like knives. Literally hilarious moment that like I'm still thinking about. Like it's just crazy like how sort of awesome this film is, but at the same time how much detail there is in the film itself. And that's about it for the pros of this movie. And like I have to admit, it's an amazing movie. I'm really excited to see what the future of the MCU holds, just based off of what this movie helps set it up as. Moving forward though, let's talk a bit about the cons of the film, the negatives, the like bad parts of the film and stuff. And like they are sort of like the subtler moments of this film, but let's just dive into it. So the first con that I really have is with Hawkeye as a character. Obviously Hawkeye wasn't in Infinity War, but he was like heavily teased in this film as like, or like heavily teased in Infinity War to be in Endgame, and there's going to be a big moment, all that kind of stuff. And like at the end of the day, I was watching him, like I was watching the movie and stuff, and I'm like there's no Hawkeye in the film. Like there is, but like there's no real arc for him as a character. I feel like he's just sort of put into those little moments and everything, and like you can see him as a character, but I feel like the storyline itself comes off as very broken, and that's something I didn't really like. Like I like Jeremy Renner as an actor, and I really wanted to see him and his character develop, and like we're probably gonna see that with the Disney Plus series, but like still with Endgame, like it's such a big moment, such a big like opportunity for this character. It was such well teased that this is gonna happen in this moment and stuff, but like nothing happened, and I was like, yo, what's going on here? Like I just felt like it's like, I don't, like for me as a viewer, it's like I looked at this and I'm like, why did Clint become Ronin? Why did he become an assassin after 5 years? Why did he kill so many people? All that kind of stuff. Why is Black Widow in this denial as a character? Why didn't she go after him? All that kind of stuff. What happened there? Why is there such a disconnect there? It's because of like the actions in Civil War, like all that kind of stuff. And I just feel like there wasn't enough depth cinematically for him as a character, that I just felt like we were just like that I wanted to see more. But like I get it though, it's a 3-hour movie. It's like if you add a couple more scenes, it's going to be like 3 hour and 15-minute movie, so like I sort of get it. But yeah, the only other point I really have to say with Hawkeye as a character is that like that intro scene for me with like him and like the whole decimation and the snap with his family, sad moment for sure, but like I really hated where the intro scene was put. And I say that because it's like, for me, an intro scene really sets the tone of a movie itself. If you look at Avengers Infinity War, my favorite scene of the whole entire Marvel Cinematic Universe is that intro scene. It sets the tone for the movie, it really describes what these characters are up against, and it really just gives a great idea of what this movie is going to be about. And I felt with the Hawkeye intro and like that intro scene, I just felt like it wasn't the strongest scene. I wish, for me personally, we got to see like we just started off with Tony and Nebula on like the ship and stuff. I forget the name of the ship because I got confused with the one name, but I wish we got to see that with like that, just that being the intro scene, because I really felt like that Hawkeye intro scene felt like a post-credit scene. In no way, for me personally, I felt like that was a great way to open the film. It didn't set the tone for the film. It really didn't show what like the problem is or what they're up against. The whole intro scene and everything, the whole scene with Iron Man at the beginning with Nebula on the ship and like them trying to find a way to survive on the ship, that whole intro sequence really for me felt like the opening, because it set the tone for the movie, showed where some major characters are at, and showed like that they don't really have any hope. It shows the fact that like it sort of sets the tone for the movie too, because it's like it is setting off from that sequel and sort of shows the severity of the snap itself. It doesn't really do that for me with Hawkeye, because I just feel like I may either be like unempathetic to who Hawkeye is as a character, but like at the same time I just sort of feel like it wasn't the perfect scene, and I feel like they just sort of added that in at the beginning, because it really just, for me, it felt like a post-credit scene. I would have loved to see that in Infinity War. Like, make that like a third post-credit scene or whatever in Infinity War, because I would have loved to see that. I think that would have been the best, like a really good post-credit scene. Just in my opinion, though, that's my thoughts. So yeah, that's my thoughts there about that as for Hawkeye as a character. Also, lastly but not least, the only other con I really have with this film is Captain Marvel. So Captain Marvel as a character, I feel like Marvel really signed Brie Larson as a character, partially just because of fame rights and how like famous she is, and like she is a really, really good actor. Like, I watched The Room, I was like emotional, but like I feel like for Captain Marvel and like her, like Brie Larson playing her, there's a lot of confusion for her as a character. When I even said that, like, I even thought about this when I was watching Captain Marvel, that there is no clear defined character that like I can be like, okay, that's Carol Danvers, that's who Brie Larson is portraying. Like, there's no defined personality there, and I feel like that sort of continued with this film. And I think one reason is because like I know that Brie Larson filmed Endgame before she filmed Captain Marvel, and I feel like that's part of the huge disconnect, because she couldn't really have time to really understand and invest time into who her character is. And like I feel like that's part of it when it's like when watching this movie, I can look at the little note, like I look at the notes where Captain Marvel is in the movie, and I can see that there. I feel like there's a lot more of a bigger sequence there that they had that they didn't show. Like, I just feel like that, like I can look at certain parts of the film and be like, okay, that was reshot, that was reshot, that was reshot. Just because looking at like a lot of the Captain Marvel moments, like I feel like she was supposed to be there and stuff during the time travel sequence, or she was going to be there playing a bigger and more significant role rather than just being a side character. And stuff. That's sort of how I feel, just with like how much hype there is for that character, or how much hype there sort of was for that character and stuff, pre-Infinity War and stuff. Also, one other point I want to say about Captain Marvel is, like, I think Marvel was saying it, or some people were saying it online, that like she's like the strongest Avenger now, but like low-key, like no, nah, not in my books. Okay, Thor Thor is the strongest Avenger in my opinion. We can go through the receipts another day or tweet at me or whatever, but like full out, Captain Marvel is not the strongest Avenger. Thor is, unless they want to prove it to me in the films. But yeah, at this point in time, like my nerdy butt is sticking with Thor being the most powerful Avenger. But yeah, that's my sort of points with Captain Marvel. Like, I just felt like she wasn't a fully developed character, and there's no like fully defined ideas with who she is as a character, and like I really just want to see her develop, because it really just seems really awkward at the moment. But besides it though, that's the end of the cons. Like, there's only two, it's sort of smaller cons and everything, but sort of to conclude this review and to conclude Avengers Endgame, I feel like this movie, like Avengers Endgame, is a really good movie. It ends up doing the impossible. It makes an incredible movie that summarizes the last 10 years of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. But at the same time, it ends up really leaving the door open for the next saga of movies and the next 10 years of movies, which I'm excited to see. So overall, I have to admit, I personally am although I do have cons for this, I feel like they're really, really small cons in this really big movie. So I'm gonna give this film 5 stars, a perfect sort of rating in a way, because I feel like although there are sort of small nitpicks, the film itself is really good. So yeah, my personal review, 5 stars here. Let me know your thoughts though down below, because I personally would love to hear them, because like, yeah. But besides that though, feel free to let me know your rating of this movie down below. Let's talk about all the major events and stuff, and yeah. But besides that though, if you have made it this far in the video, thank you so much for watching. My name is Jack Skinner. Feel free to like, comment, share, and subscribe. Hit post notifications if that is something that you are into. And besides that, at the end screen, I will put my favorite comic of the week at the end screen, and down below you can check out in the description the reason why it's my favorite comic of the week. Besides that though, thank you so much for watching. You guys have a good night, and bye!